crafty friend, it's me, Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft, my world stands still. Let's start off by glimmering. I'm going to glimmer the press-tacular plate that is called Songbird Serenade. It is a pretty one that has a hummingbird and some gorgeous florals on it. I would like to know right now in the comments if you have glimmered a press-tacular plate before. Yes or no? If you have, let me know your experience, and if you have not, what's stopping you? I'd love to know. I think it is so fun to make glimmered pieces with press-tacular plates. I think they glimmer so gorgeously, and they are easy to get lots of little details with the press-tacular plates and glimmering. I'm using Glimmer Hot Foil from Spellbinders. I'm using the Glimmer Machine and Glimmer Specialty cardstock also from Spellbinders. Now my timer is done. I'll release it, run it through my die cutting machine with the Glimmer Shim on top, take it off and pop it back into my machine to make another one. I always pop it back into my machine at the end because I want it to get hot for my next press. But look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I love glimmering. It's my favorite. I have lots of glimmering videos over on my channel called Stationery by Justine. So if you're interested in more from me, check that out. Now I'm going to finish off this little hummingbird with some black around the edges. And you might be wondering, what are you doing? I'm using Copic markers on this Glimmer Specialty cardstock. It is kind of strange how they kind of play together. It kind of works like an alcohol ink because Copics are alcohol markers after all. So I had an interesting time blending on this paper, to say the least, and the black outline is simply so it will match my background because we're making a dramatic card that will wow the giver, the recipient. There we go, the recipient. Isn't that really pretty? I love glimmering, and using my Copic markers is a fun way to get kind of like a dramatic feel to my project. Side note, anytime I get alcohol markers on my board, I just dump some rubbing alcohol on it and wipe it clean. It's a nice time to sanitize and to remove any other colors that might be on there anyway. And after a few seconds, it will dry, and I'll show you my plan for this one. Now, this hummingbird card, I had butter pressed and watercolored. I've glimmered it. I've had lots of fun with this hummingbird, but for this project today, I wanted something that was kind of dramatic, and this is kind of a big piece. So here's what it looks like on an A2. It's almost kind of too big for that direction, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it the other way, and this will be a landscape style card. But look how the background just blends in with that black line that I created, and it almost looks like it is intricately die cut out. I love that look. So what I'm going to do, because some of the pieces are hanging off the edge, I'll grab my trimmer and then just simply give it a trim off on both of these sides here. Both. There's that Minnesota accent coming out again. And I won't waste those, so don't worry. We're going to add them on to the bottom here, just as an extra little flower. I think that top flower is so pretty. It looks like a little bell. And I think these are technically morning glories. I could be wrong, but I used to grow morning glories at my childhood home, and that's kind of what they looked like to me. So in my brain, they're morning glories, which can be any color. Isn't that fun? I love that flowers and birds and fish can be all sorts of different colors. It doesn't have to be pink, purple, or red. It can be anything. You could have purple flowers, but you could also have teal flowers. There's actually some gorgeous blue morning glories varieties out there. So if you are coloring them, just pick a flower you like and give it a try. I didn't show the coloring on this video because it was quite long and tedious, and it took about an hour and a half to color. So that was enjoyable for me, but it would not be enjoyable for you to sit through an hour and a half of coloring. Now, I could not let this little flower bud go to waste because it is super cute, and I think it adds a little something on that area. So I am going to add it right there. It looks like there's a whole bush behind us. Off the card, of course. Now, what you could do is add foam to pop up this hummingbird. I chose to glue it flat onto this card. Sometimes I need flat cards for mailing, but you could also grab a bubble mailer if that is your thing. To finish off this card, I'm going to use a sentiment from Crafty Meraki. This one says, "Congratulations." I do need quite a few graduation cards coming up, and I have a lot of weddings that I'm going to this summer, so I need a congratulations card on hand. I think this could be for a wedding or graduation. I don't know, I'm kind of leaning more toward graduation for this one because it's a little more like edgy with the black and the bold colors, but there's no rules. You could certainly give this as a wedding card, but that's my plan at least for this one. And then I always like to use my reverse tweezers when I'm putting on something, trying to make it straight, but you know, sometimes it gets crooked. So you gotta try again, just like they used to tell you, or tell me, now I tell my students, try again. So I'm gonna lift it up and just position it until it looks straightish. There are tools for getting things straight. It's one of my pet peeves is to have a crooked sentiment, so it is something that I will take time and correct if need be, but you do you, you know? The foam is dimensional, but it does not get affected too much when it gets mailed, so that's no big deal. Now, I'm thinking that if I just put this onto a card base as it is, it will just be a little bit lost, and I think it needs a frame. I like when my cards have some kind of a solid frame going around the outside. It just looks right to my eye. So instead of adding a color, I'm going to keep it white and have it be a dramatic black and white kind of difference from there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off and make my card panel with my hummingbird 4 by 5 1/4. And that will give a little border of white around my hummingbird panel so that my card has some difference there. So make sure it's 5 1/4. So just to make sure I didn't lose too much of my sentiment space there, I did just trim 1/8 off on each side. But my final panel came to 4 by 5 1/4. And then my card base is an A2, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then I'm going to glue on my panel. If you've liked this video so far, be sure to hit the like button before you head out. And let me know your thoughts in the comments about this card. I'd love to see you in my Facebook group, Stationery Maker Group, so head on over there as well. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and be sure to subscribe to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. There's amazing videos here on their channel. Bye, crafty friend.